Hi everyone, I'm here, and so I know you're gonna see these round things in my glasses. That's my extra light that I'm doing for now. It's like those selfie lights. They're kind of annoying to me, but it's all I could do at this point because they're cheap. So I mean, it's either be a little bit darker or have the little round circles in my lens. I would not wear my glasses if I didn't have to, but I can't see a darn thing. So just waiting for some people to pop in. Kylie's going to be doing moderation, and um, I'm going to be answering intuitive guidance questions on here tonight, just like before, or we can chit chat about whatever. Um, and then, yeah, if you can do donations, that would be great for your questions. We're going to put my PayPal up in here. We'd appreciate rather PayPal or Vimo on um, instead of on the live chat because they take like 50%, so that's an awful lot. So yeah, if you guys can do that, if you guys want your questions answered, or we can just chit chat about whatever. If you guys have spiritual questions or anything like that. As far as Brittany, no, I have not. It's hard if I don't have anybody to search. I don't really, I've said where I think she is, and it's kind of that. There comes a point on some of the cases where I just kind of give what I get, and I have to leave it because, sorry if I go in and out. Um, it's only because I have satellite, so it's a little shoddy here and there. Again, cases are going to be, if you want cases worked on, you're going to have to contact me, and we'll have to do it through Messenger just because it takes a lot of work. It's not like something I can just give you wham bam. Usually it takes a long time. And then, I wonder if I can put these somewhere else where they're not. Nope. It's really annoying me. So, hi, you guys. Thanks for joining. So honestly, I feel like as far as Brittany is concerned, that she's in the area. Mary Lamb is very. It's not. I'm not the only place it's come in at. It's also come in EVPs, and I really think she's along that area somewhere. So let me see. Um, I'm gonna have Kylie put on my PayPal. Also, my PayPal is in the description. If we can do it that way, it would help a lot because, like I said, YouTube takes 50%. It's a lot. I don't know why they take that much. We're the one doing the work, but okay, so they take 50%. So that's why if we can do PayPal, that would be a lot easier for me, or Venmo. And if you do donate, then just go ahead and ask a question. I like to remind everybody that when doing readings are always about possibilities. I can get past, present, and future. Sometimes things can be symbolic, and you do have your free will to choose a different path. So, or go a different way, or go around another direction. That's some things you guys have to keep in mind when getting readings from anybody, is that readings are about possibilities. So it's all going to be about the choices that you make, or for instance, love readings, the choices that your partner makes. So it has a lot to do with the free will. um, People are thrown in your path, but their free will and your free will is going to decide how it's going to work out. So just wanted to throw that out there. um, I am going to be hopefully uploading another video of Dulce tonight. I went ahead and did a reading last night, very interesting stuff that came up. um, and I'll kind of talk about how we don't need to be pointing fingers. That's not what my readings are for. A lot of times it can be connections if I get a name or whatever. So um, I'm going to be talking a little bit about that before I actually do or put out the reading, and a little bit about Cupcake, because I had done a little reading on her that was actually really accurate, and I hadn't got it released because I wanted to do more, and I get kind of sidetracked with everybody sort of um, I don't know, people want me to do regular readings, and then people want me to do other cases, so I get a little sidetracked sometimes, and I say, oh, I'm gonna do it today, and then I miss a few days, and then, you know, sometimes it's too late. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about that too whenever I do that reading, or whenever I post that reading tonight. It is already posted in the group. If you guys are not a part of the Psychic Sleuth podcast group on Facebook, it is already posted in there. I had a hard time uploading it. I think Kylie was supposed to upload it for me. For some reason, every time I tried to upload it, Facebook would shut off on me. So it's uploaded in there. Screenshots are in there. Kylie, if you could put the PayPal, I put it on the description. If you could just type it in there. I don't know if there's a way to pin it. That would be awesome. The Venmo and the PayPal for people that want their questions answered. I know it's kind of late getting to this tonight. You know, I had kind of a long day. For a case, okay, so normally I like to say for donations, you got to remember that cases do take a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy. Usually don't get less than an hour in a case. And so my normal prices are actually pretty lenient, because I know that people, you know, a lot of people have a hard time paying for things these days. I know I do, so I try to make it affordable. So when working cases, I ask for donations, but like normal is like 30 minutes is $40 and $75 for an hour. So anywhere, you know, close to those prices, either more or less, whatever you feel is worth it. Sometimes cases, depending on if it's a missing person, it might take more than one day. But depending on the donation is going to depend on how much work I actually do on the case, because I actually do have a long, no, you can't go there. You can't go there. Long list of cases to get done. So it just depends on what you can afford, and I will do my best to accommodate you the best that I can. Because I do feel like, you know, if I can work on as many cases as I can work on, and help as many people as I can, that's my goal. So, but also I don't want to rush anything or try to do too much, because, you know, I want to be accurate with it. So, you know, I've had people donate only a little bit, and I give them what I can. So, I'm going to be doing the video as soon as I'm done with the live. I just wanted to do the live first, because I'm trying to, okay, so my son and his girlfriend are homecoming prince and princess, and they need to go to the dance tomorrow, and I guess I'm trying to make money for her ticket, so that since her mom's having a hard time, and I know she needs to go because we've always been young once, right? So that's definitely what I'm trying to do tonight. So I want to make sure I did a live. Plus, I wanted to see you guys. It's been a little bit. I want to try to do them more often. So I want to do a live, and then after I am done with this, I'm going to record. And Nebula is saying hi tonight. She's my little sweet girl. Yeah, no, if I get a donation for a case, it will be prioritized. So I actually have to, I have Susan that I need to work on. I had a couple people donate on that. So that's the next case I'm going to be doing one more reading on, and then if you wanted to contact me on Facebook and donate, you would be next in line. So like I always said, if someone wants a case worked on, if they donate, they become priority. My list is for basically cases that I get, or cases I feel like I've had a connection to, like, because you know how I get interconnects, right? So as far as the interconnects, sometimes cases will pop up and I think that they belong where the interconnect is. So I will do the reading, you know, if I can, if I have time. But we have another group for that, where we have all the cases that we feel like have come through or that match the random auto rights or other interconnects. So, but yeah, I just have a list of things I want to work on, and it's a long list. But if you donate, your case is definitely prioritized. So just if you can email me, we can set it up, or message me on Facebook. So we can do that, and we will make an appointment, because how I normally do it is I like to make appointments. If I don't make an appointment, I'm really bad. I have to make an appointment. I'll just put it off and put it off and put it off. So I have to make an appointment with you. Then the donation is made after the appointment, and then we meet on the appointment and we work on the case. So actually, that would probably be a couple hours worth of work for a case. And it might have to be split up, so we might have to do a couple of appointments for a donation like that. I have to keep going to the chat because it keeps disappearing, man. Thank you, Ash. I appreciate that. When you understand how my readings work, sorry, she keeps getting in front. When you actually understand how my readings work, then you kind of understand that, yeah, I do get pretty spot on a lot of stuff. If you're not taking the time to understand how they work and the interconnects and, you know, the way that things come in, past, present, or future, or symbolic, or the way that more is described, because if they describe an area, it could be an area the person knows. It could be an area that's past. It could be just a surrounding area. So you kind of have to learn how I work in order to understand how accurate things really are. I even get surprised sometimes, especially with the random auto rights. If you guys haven't watched those in the world events, I need to do another one really soon. But a lot of that stuff that I said has actually happened. And that is new as of this year. I wasn't able to do the world events before. When I did random auto rights, it was mostly I was trying to focus on cases and whatnot. But I just started getting all this world events, so it's kind of mixed in with the cases now. So, you know, it's even surprising to me, you know, the whole world event things that's happening that I actually said going to happen, as far as the shootings and the earthquakes and all these, even the little things, you know. I think recently they found like 49 bodies in a red truck, and I had mentioned a red truck the last auto right, that something was going to happen with a red truck. I got red and purple, so I'm still waiting for the purple one. But you know, if you kind of understand, I try to explain like how things work too, because you know, a lot of people, they don't get it, and it's confusing because we don't all work the same. Like, I don't work the same as another psychic medium. I don't work the same, and they don't work the same as me. And I think I'm one of the only ones that has these interconnect things. I'm trying to get more focused with it, but if they want to do it for some reason that way, you know, just for instance, I always talk about connections. Things are always connected in a weird way, whether it be timing or similarities in the cases. We just started noticing that, and it's kind of weird how it works. And I think it was back in Delphi where the girls told me in one of my auto rights, they showed me like little dots on a map and then lines going to each dot, and they were telling me that everything was going to be connected. Things were going to be connected, and I didn't realize back then, you know, that all these cases were going to interconnect and connect this way. And so, just for instance, like Cupcake, and then there was Nevaeh. They were both found the same day in a landfill. And so that is kind of interesting. And they're both around the same age, both African American girls. Then you have the one woman that was found in a dumpster with a clown tattoo. I mean, it's just the weird that I even get kind of weirded out by the connections that there are, but I'm starting to see them because it, you know, I'm getting used to it. So, Amy, did I answer your question okay? So basically, for that type of donation, we would be getting to your reading next week, like early next week, if that would be okay, or even this weekend, if that would be okay for you. I just have to do one more on Susan, and then I think we're good to go for that. So I hope I answered your question. I know that Kylie just messaged me in my Dulce chat and said that and asked me the same question, so I want to make sure. Thank you for the donations. Appreciate it. We could send the donations to PayPal, would be helpful. Okay. Is it Ari or Amy? I'm sorry if I said Amy. I can't tell if those are R's or I's. I think it's ARRI, right? So let me know if that answered your question, and then if you're interested, just message me on like I said, on Facebook is probably the best way through Messenger, or you can message the Psychic Sleuth page. And I have a hard time checking that because I don't have like I don't get reminded of notifications, but I've gotten to a habit of checking it every day. So you can just message me on there, and I will we'll set up a appointment if you're interested. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions? I mean, any questions about anything? Um, and Ash, I actually thank you so much for saying that. Okay. Um, I hope you guys are gonna like the new Dulce reading. It's very, very interesting, to say the least. And so I'm excited to get that out. Hopefully, um, we're getting one step closer to at least finding the guy or finding her. I'm trying really hard. Some cases are easier than others. Cupcake was easy, and I didn't even realize how easy it was. But and some are just harder. So it just depends, as far as the location goes. Okay, I thought it was Ari because I couldn't see if it was R or an M. You know how the two R's look like an M? It looked like AMI. So I just wanted to make sure. So Ari, okay, sorry. Getting a headache for some reason. Put my dog's out and it's dark, so So, what do you guys want to talk about? Give me something to talk about if we're not going to do intuitive guidance questions. Okay, here we go. Ash, born this ability to readable. Okay, so I can say as sorry about my dogs; they're outside being annoying. I was always kind of really intuitive, and to the point like when I was with my husband, who was my twin flame, which that's one thing I want to put a shout out as I do have a book out there on Amazon, and I forgot to mention that last time. I also have a page on Facebook. You can go to it. It has the links, but it's called R&R Love, a Twin Flame story. And so basically, I was always kind of intuitive, especially when it came to him. And it used to freak him out. And he would say, because every time he would leave and I would tell him something was going to happen, it happened. And he would tell his friends and they would think it was just weird, right? So I was always kind of intuitive, had dreams, had little things happen here and there. But not until after my husband passed away about 7 years ago in a car accident did I really start to open up. And it was because I wanted to talk to him so bad and I was praying about it. But also, as a twin flame, if you guys don't know what that is, it explains it a lot in my book. And we could even do something on that if you wanted to. It's a little in depth, but as a twin flame, you're always kind of gifted. Um, you don't always meet your twin flame in this life, but this life I did. And after losing him, they always say too, sometimes is if you lose someone, um, sometimes it's a kid or a mom or a dad or any kind of big loss can really kind of open up your heart chakra and can really make you more open. And I've met a lot of mediums who, after they've experienced a big loss or something very traumatic, that they become more gifted or they become gifted. So it started off that way. I was begging God that I wanted to be able to speak to my husband, and I really wanted to do what all these other mediums do and help people. And I started auto writing. And I had met this girl, and she'd start saying, you can talk to Jesus and stuff. And so I even auto wrote him a little bit. And going back now, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but it was actually really accurate in the way that he would talk is the way she said that he talked. So, I mean, a lot of people don't even realize the weird things that can happen, right? So, anyways, I would auto write my husband, and then I started using tarot cards. And if you guys know any kind of tools that you get, they can open you up even more. So, pendulum, tarot cards, something like that, can kind of open your abilities even more. Tarot cards, I used them for a little bit, but I didn't really like them because I have a hard time memorizing the meanings and stuff of each card. I had a hard time flowing it together. So, but it was a good start, right? Pendulums can sometimes be accurate, sometimes not. But whenever I do use a pendulum, if I get yes or no, I'll get something else with it. Um, so it doesn't turn out to be just a yes or no reading. It'll be other stuff to go along, which is very interesting. I haven't done that in a while. We might do that sometime. Um, so then after that, I started a grief group, and the grief group was, just going to be to help people get through their grief, because I understood that it was hard losing someone, and a lot of people had helped me, and I wanted to help them. So it was more or less as helping people to kind of get through it the way that people had helped me. And I did not realize that I was actually channeling helpful information. It would just flow, just kind of like, and so that's kind of why I think that I connect best when I type and when I write, is because that's how I started, and that's how I just can concentrate on things. Like if I'm video chatting or I'm on the phone with someone or something like that, I'm more focused on them, and I try not to be, but I can't hyper focus. I feel like I miss stuff. So that's why I prefer to do, my readings through Messenger and the readings that I do on cases and stuff, because I just work best that way. So anyways, then I started hearing other spirit, and one day and I'm still friends with her. I don't talk to her that much anymore, but a lot of the friends I made back then I met from the grief group, which is still open, but I'm never in there because I just don't have time to do free readings anymore. This has become my lifestyle, and I have to live, I have a hard time with my energy as it is to be able to even work on what I'm working on to give free readings anymore. I just can't give away my energy like that anymore. Maybe if I had an abundance of energy, and I didn't need the money, I probably would. But so um, there was this girl I met, or this lady I met, and she had lost, I believe it was her son, if I'm remembering right. And I was talking to her, we were talking back and forth, and I said something about mashed potatoes. And I know it sounds really weird, right? And I didn't even want to say it because it sounded off the wall. And she said, well, let me tell you, I'm standing here and I'm cooking mashed potatoes right now. So it was a way that her son was saying, hey, I'm standing right next to you and I see what you're doing. And that's what spirit will do sometimes. And so that's how it'll begin for me. After that, I just kept doing more readings and more readings and more readings. I expanded. I did a lot of meditation. I did a lot of, I went and I started reading books and I started reading articles, any questions that I had. I also had some really great mentors along the way. Rachel, she took me under her wing right after my husband passed, and she helped me out a lot. She taught me, that he was my twin flame. She taught me what it meant. She said, you could be doing readings, you could be channeling, this could be your lifestyle. And I really wanted that, but I didn't know I had the ability till she told me. And so she's the one that really pushed me. So I always try to pay it forward as far as mentoring people if I can, if they want to be mentored. But what I do suggest, like I say, is a lot of meditation. The guided meditations on YouTube work really well. The binaural beats are really good. They have those for anything. If you have PTSD, if you have anxiety, whatever you may have, they work really good for it. So, my suggestion would be to kind of do those things. And also any questions that you may have, look them up, read about it, learn about your clairs. So that's kind of how it worked for me. And then I really took an interest in my lights are going dim. I've never used those before, but I really took an interest in like cases. I don't know why. I've always had a thing with justice. My moon is a Libra, so your moon is your emotions and stuff, and Libras are the scales, so it kind of makes sense for me. But I always my interest is, yes, I love helping people and stuff, but my real interest has always been as a kid, I wanted to kind of be a detective. My grandma and I, we used to watch Columbo, and we would always try to figure out who done it, and we were usually right. So that was something I always wanted to do. I always thought it was really fun. And so, I don't know, I just took an interest in the fact of using my abilities to try to maybe help people or to help solve crimes. And I get really interested into the sensing murder and the psychic detectives and stuff like that. And I know that it can be done, and that it has been done. And that's just kind of how everything happened for me. And over 7 years, I've been doing this for 7 years. So along the lines, I've grown and I've grown and I've grown, and I continue to grow. I think that we always grow. We don't ever stop growing. I don't think there can ever get to a point as a psychic medium where you're at your full potential. I think that you're always being gifted in different ways, and you're always getting stronger. Working really hard on my location right now. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's not. A lot of times it depends on spirit and how they explain it to me. So, um, that's kind of where everything came from and how everything happened to me. And my book does explain a lot on how everything kind of opened up and how losing him really changed. I mean, he had a lot of problems with life, and he struggled with being here. And so, get out of here, son. Bye. I'm in the middle of something. Do you want that or not? Sorry for the interruption. So I think that, he left for a reason, because he was struggling so much and I was kind of in danger, and I think that he left to kind of save my life. Eli, please. Oh my Lord. I'm not giving you any money for no tickets if you don't be quiet. You didn't lose that, did you? What? The money for your ticket? No, it's not mine. I can't do that right now. I'm busy. I know. Okay, go. So you remember. I already know. Get it.
Those lights are shitty. They don't.
Go put it back in the fridge, please. Freezer. Freezer.
Frizz.
Put it in the freezer. No. I apologize. I know they're getting dim.
Make your friends laugh anyway. So.
This is YouTube, not like a friend.
Last Christmas,
okay, bye.
I gave you my heart.
Sorry about that. So everybody.
And the next day, you gave it away.
Elijah. He thinks that he's funny and that he makes the show better, and that's why he comes out here and does that when you guys are here. And it's really annoying. Hold on, let me find a plug for this, because otherwise you guys aren't going to be able to see me in a minute. I've just got these lights, and they sure don't last very long. I want to get something better, for sure. But for now, this is how it goes. So everybody has spirit guides, all right? Everybody has them. They're born with them. They come in. There's some that stay with you your whole life from when you're born on, and they, some you have come in and out depending on what you need help with. So I work a lot with animal guides just because of who I am. When I tell people their guides, I always say that I've always been told by spirit that, guides is a very personal expedition. Spirit likes you to figure out who your guides are kind of on your own so that you can learn to work with them. Sorry. There we go. So that you can learn to work with them better and you can understand who they are. So that's why I always say, sometimes I'll tell people their guides, like if their guides show me who they are, they step up and say, hey, you can tell them that this is who we are. I do tend to get more animal guides for people than I do the other kinds of guides, just because that's what I'm able to do. That's one of the specialties that I have. So, but everybody has guides. We can't go through life without them. Even the crappy people have guides. Maybe they just don't listen to them. But we're always born with them, and it's that our guides a lot of the time are people, entities, animals that we have made contracts with to help us in this life, and maybe we've helped them in another life. They also can be, we have master guides, like Jesus is a master guide. He's one of my master guides. I've been able to channel him. I had a really amazing experience one time. I was channeling him for a client of mine, and it was New Year's, and I could just feel the power, and all my lights flickered and everything. It was amazing. And so, we can work with them. Mother Mary, those are the ascended masters. Ascended masters are they're guides like that, and they're more powerful and they work with more people. So it's not like they're your own specific guides, just like angels. So we all definitely do have our own guides. It's just learning to work with them, to hear them, to understand them. My husband, because he's my twin flame, is a guide of mine. Twin flames can become your guide. They have to go through the training and everything on the other side. And he is the only one that I listen to most of the time, the only one I pay attention to. Between that and I have a wolf as my main animal guide. Anselo is his name. He's a big gray wolf. And whenever I go into a haunted house, or if I'm going to work on like Susan's case, because that mofo is passed as well and he tries to block it. I had to do a lot of work with my wolf in the beginning, and he will sit there and he will growl and he will make sure I'm protected, and then I'm able to do a reading. And I had the same thing happen when I was in this haunted house, and this haunted house was crazy. I've never experienced anything like it before. There was at least 12 ghost stories there that I did. And each of them had their own story, and there was this one guy that was controlling all of them. It was really weird. The guy had a portal in his house and didn't even care. He was just like, okay, no biggie, all these ghosts are allowed to be here. And a lot of them were negative. And I had my wolf was sitting there the whole time just trying to protect me. But so we use our different guides for different things. And some of them we have a stronger connective, like I say, our main guides. They're the ones we connect with the most. And depending on what we have going on in our life will depend on the ones that we work with the most. I had a weird way that I have an owl, a barn owl. Me and my son both do. He doesn't really get into it anymore. But we had a weird way how they came out and kind of shown themselves to us. As we were sitting in here, and all of a sudden, there was no reason for the electricity to go out. It wasn't raining, it wasn't windy, nothing. All of a sudden, the electricity goes out, and it gets really quiet, really, really quiet. And all of a sudden, we heard 2 hoots with an owl, and then the electricity went back on. It was pretty cool. So it was their way of announcing, themselves. Sorry, my son has ADHD, and by now his medication's wearing off. Try not to ever medicate him, but I went through a time where I just couldn't take it anymore. So if he's a little loud, I would try to do this when he's gone. I just sometimes don't get to it in the middle of the day like that. Sorry, I have to keep going back and checking the chat. Okay, the chat. Okay, so do people know their spirit guides? So like it would be like a family member passed away. No. Like everybody has a guide. Like it doesn't matter who you are. You have guides. You have more than one guide. And you don't have to really know who your guides are to work with them. But if you want to do the work and find out who they are and connect with them through meditation and whatnot, that's even better. Now, your loved ones normally cannot be. Twin flames are the exception to the rule. If you've had a loved one in this life, usually they cannot be your guide. However, there are also exceptions to that. It depends on what God or the higher power allows. So normally it would be people in another life can be your guides. Normally it's not normally people that you've lost in this life, like I said, unless it's a twin flame. As far as I know, as far as my understanding is, like you can't have a grandma or grandpa be your guides. They can guide you, but they can't be an actual guide. So our loved ones are always guiding us and always protecting us, but they don't necessarily have to be a guide. They have to go through normally like training, like any kind of training. Like I said, there can be exceptions to the rule. I guess they can talk to the higher power and say I really want to do this, but normally it's people that you've already made a contract with prior in another life, or an animal or a fairy or whatever, because we can have all kinds of guides. We can have joy. I've never gotten really into it, but I know there's like joy guides and there's other different kinds of guides, and you can have. I've had people had fairies before. Everybody has animal guides. It's just if they want to connect to them or not, and then they have the regular guides. So, I mean, I had someone that just had a scorpion. That was really weird. I've never had anybody had a scorpion before, but it really made sense with her life and where she was living at in the desert. So it really kind of fit. And normally you will notice that like your animal guides, they have a lot to do with your own characteristics and your things that you're going through. If you go and you look them up and what they're about, it has a lot to do with that. Like it will explain a lot of, like for instance, a wolf. Okay, my wolf. They're teachers. They're about family. Um, I'm big on family. I'm a teacher by nature. Uh, they're also part of clairvoyance as well as an owl, which I do have. So it's part of, um, they enhance your gifts or help you with the gifts that you have, and or something that's going on in your life. It's kind of all mixed together. I hope I'm explaining that right. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying. Okay. So my kids told me they're able to see spirit. And you guys don't forget, if you can please send a little donation to the PayPal, I'd appreciate it. Okay. So my kids tell me they're able to see spirit, that they have been experiences that I can't explain or don't know if they're favoring or any way you can tell. Um, most kids do have abilities, and the reason for this is because they just come from the other side. They're still very innocent. They're very open. They haven't had the chance to become like an adult, closed-minded, or so a lot of times kids do have abilities. So more than likely, your kids are not fibbing to you; they are being honest with you. Have you ever seen that show, Psychic Kids? Sometimes they grow out of it, and sometimes they keep it. As we know, the veil is thinning, and more beings are coming to the earth that are gifted to try to help with a new movement. And that's being channeled right now because I've never said that before. But um, so that's a big part of it. So I would listen to what your kids are saying because they're not lying about it. Even my son as a kid had a lot of imaginary friends are actually spirit. It's not actually imaginary friends. He used to call her Dora, but I had to actually stop at Walmart and let Dora get out of the cart and go in and use the bathroom and wait for her. I don't really know at that time if that was a spirit or an imaginary friend. I'd like to think it was a little spirit friend he had. There's been time, when he was a baby, he'd run through the house and play like someone was chasing him. I know a lot of your guys' kids have probably done that. Usually as family members or, pets. Our pets are on the other side too. They do visit us. My mom constantly says that she sees a dog I had for 15 years out of the corner of her eye. She can see spirit. I can't. So I just say, okay, and I believe her. I don't know why I can't see him, but she can. So, it's very real, and your kids are not lying to you. I can tell you that if they're telling you that, then, I would listen to them. Don't ignore anything that your kids tell you because they're very much more in tune and more intuitive than we are. And it doesn't matter their ages. Anyways, I mean, they just have obviously kept their gifts. If you guys have learned, I mean, the indigo children, the crystal children, the rainbow children, all go into that kind of, the ones that are the new age that are trying to come in to help bring us into a new era, which I feel like maybe that a lot of the darkness that's going on is we have to fall before we can rebuild. Not only that, but the demons are just taking over. I mean, I've never seen, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. I don't know if people are falling away from God, falling away from the light, and just allowing it to happen. It's just, I know that we come here for different reasons, right? And we come here to learn lessons. And I know that we have the chance to be forgiven and the chance to go to heaven. People that run from God and run from heaven go to the lower astrals, which most people consider hell. It's not like most people would think it is. It's their own personal hell. Um, and yes, Satan is real, and yes, demons are real, and all of that. All the unseen world, unicorns, fairies, all that. Everything that we've ever thought that imagination can make is actually real. It's just on a different dimension, a different plane. So, not to go off the subject or anything, but a lot of the stuff that we don't see is there. Not really. I mostly work off of pictures and questions for whatever reason. That's just the way that it works for me. My intuitive guidance runs off of questions, and I'll channel. And I don't really like to call them, like I said, psychic readings, because I feel like it's more intuitive guidance from their guides. And I'm it's up to their guides to show me, anything in the future or whatever. So, as far as that goes, sorry, I get off track sometimes. As far as that goes, I mean, I think that there has been times where I've been connected to people's names, or if I'm just talking to someone, I'll get stuff. It all really just depends, honestly. Like, I can't go up to someone and tell them their whole life. That's just not how it works for me. And that's not really how it works for a lot of people. I think that we're not supposed to know everything. Everybody thinks a psychic has to know everything, a medium has to know, they should know this and they should know that. No, we only know what we're told by spirit, and we only know what we're given, and we're not meant to know it all. Like, we're not meant to know when we're going to die. We're not meant to know all the negative things that are going to happen in our life, because we're going to sit there and worry about it. And sometimes we can take a different path and it might not even happen. So, we're not supposed to know everything. But off on a tangent again. Sometimes I can. It all just depends. Yeah, I just answered, Kylie. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Mostly, it's like I said, it's mostly pictures or questions. Sometimes if I'm talking to someone, like I said, I'll get stuff, and sometimes if I see a name, I'll get stuff. But it all just depends. I can't say that it happens all the time, because it doesn't happen all the time. If I ever go off on tangents, it's because I'm being led that way or I'm channeling. So I apologize, but a lot of times when I talk, no different than when I was doing when I was in the grief group, spirit will guide me and they will channel stuff through me. So if I just go off on tangents, that's just them saying whatever they want to say. Is if you can, make sure that you guys are donating to my PayPal so that I can get it ASAP, because it takes a while for YouTube. It goes to my, like, what I make from commercials and crap. I have to raise a certain amount before they'll send me anything, and then they take 50%. So it's all on here on the comments. If you guys can look on there and send it that way, that would be helpful. Okay, so my daughter has had experiences a couple months ago where something was trying to take over her and scared her pretty bad. My son doesn't like it, but he does. Okay, so that was probably when she was sleeping. A lot of time when we're sleeping, we can go into the lower astrals, we can astral travel, we can get pulled out of our body. I've had that happen to me when I was working on Delphi. And I know people will think it's weird, but they will try to have sex with you. Sorry, I know it sounds weird, but it does happen. So they would try to pull on me and do different things, and it was very uncomfortable. I would start praying and stuff and try to get back in my body, because you can't, it's almost like you're paralyzed. Okay, your body is paralyzed and you can't move. So with that being said, they can try to do that. So I suggest a lot of boundaries are really important. Okay, prayer to source or to angels, or however you want to do it, having the light around you, having love around you is very important. If you're depressed, if you're anxious, if you're sad, it's easier for them to get to you. Another thing I would say is boundaries, as of make sure that they're strong in saying, leave me alone, get away from me. I've seen demons before. They've came and growled. When I first started my work, I had one in my house growl, and my dog looked right at it, and I told it to get the F out of my house, and it did. So you just have to be really stern with them and remember that you are in control. there are things that she can use. I can never remember the name of this stone. I have to look it up real quick because I have a hard time remembering stuff, and I really have a hard time remembering this stone. So, hang on one second. I know what it is. I just can't remember the name of it. It's one of the strongest protecting stones. You can use it to close portals and stuff like that. Um, so your black tourmaline is really good. Um, that's one of the strongest ones. You can also do fire agate, tourmalated quartz, jetstone, black obsidian, hematite is really good too. Smoky quartz, amethyst, floret, and jasper. Um, now, for those of you that, like I said, black tourmaline is really good, or hematite. You guys can necklaces, crosses are really good. Bracelets, they can sleep with these little stones under their pillow. Saging is really good. Putting protective barriers around you, shielding. You guys can look up how to shield, how to protect. That's something you can do as well. For those of you that want to open your abilities while we're on stones, Melody Stone is really good. It's good for everything. It's good for protection. It's good for opening your abilities. Everything like that. I know I'm going to get me one time. Again, they also self cleanse themselves, so you don't have to put them out in the moonlight or anything like that. So those are things that I would suggest. She needs to make sure that she's very strong willed, and I'm not going to let you come near me. I'm not going to let you hurt me. This is my space, and you are not allowed in my space. Working with spirit or being gifted, you have to learn how to kind of be, have your boundaries, um, and how to be stern with it. So sometimes you can, hang on. Happened when she was watching television. Yeah, it can be. That's another thing you guys have to understand is when you're full of light and you have a lot of light around you, you are more apt to be, the spirits come at you, including demons. I mean, we can get them from people, we can get them from places, we can get them from the work that we do. So everybody probably has more than likely had an attachment or has attachments at some time or another. They can make people drink, they can make people do drugs. So that's a lot of the problem too with all of this drug addicts and stuff that are going on as well. I learned that with my husband that the dark can actually cause a lot of that stuff. It can cause people to do things they wouldn't normally do. Salting is okay if you're worried about your property. I would suggest bringing in a shaman, a medium, a priest, or someone like that if you don't really know how to cleanse your property or your house very well. The Lord's Prayer is the strongest prayer that you can say. Then there's saging, and there's holy water, and there's like salt, and there's a whole bunch of stuff you got to do. So there's things you can look up online that can kind of explain it on how you can have it done. Sometimes it takes more than one time than just salting your property. There's certain ways that you got to do it. So I would suggest if you can have someone come, if you're worried about it, if you feel like you need a cleansing, I would have someone that can do that kind of stuff come to your house and cleanse your house for you. But make sure they're legit, make sure they're just not after your money. So it would be, a priest, a shaman, a healer, a medium, someone like that if you're worried about it. I'm not sure that just salt isn't just going to do it as far as if you're worried about your property. So, baptize is always really good, but not just being baptized, but also believing and having God or the Spirit or the light or however it's all the same thing, right? Source. Okay. So, I feel like religion, like what's really real is all the religions kind of put together. There's no right or wrong way. We all believe things for a certain reason. Mine is kind of everything mixed together, right? So, having that strong connection to source is also helpful. But I would suggest those things. I would suggest, some kind of protective jewelry for her to wear, maybe a cross, her boundaries to get stronger, you guys to really cleanse your property, not just salt. You need to have like a deep cleansing if you're worried about it being the property. you know, sometimes we can have things attack us and then they leave. It doesn't necessarily mean that they stick around. But if you've got a demon, you know, she needs to stand up to it and tell it to get the heck out of their house. Also, I've learned that demons don't really like pounding. I don't know why. I learned that from someone about pounding um, pans and stuff and making like a lot of racket. I don't know why that would help, but that's what I was told. And just being stern with them. Um, because I used to work with a shaman and she said she was cleansing this house and she just told the demon to get the F out and it did. And that's kind of what I did too. Like you have to take back your house, back your space, you know, back your life. And like the only time I was really attacked was during the Delphi thing, but I was sleeping most of the time when I was attacked. Other than my life really did go downhill, and they can make that happen to you. Um, you know, it's just so weird how much they can actually control in someone's life. I have to keep looking at the chat. Yes, it can be very overwhelming. And so I also would suggest her learning if she was now there's two things that I always tell people to do when they feel that they're gifted. One, you can nurture it, you can open up to it, you can learn about it. You can learn how to control it, you can learn how to protect, you can learn all that stuff, right? Or you can shut it off by blocking it, blocking them. There's ways to block your gifts. Just saying you don't want it, you don't want anything to do with it. So it has to be their choice on, you know, if they want to go one way with it or the other. I would never tell someone to, you know, go ahead and work with their gifts if it's not something that they really wanted. It has to be something they really want to do, right? Because with great power becomes great responsibility. And I know that we've all heard that before, but it is really true. So you have to make sure that if you're going to do this, that you're going to do it the right way and you're going to learn how to do it. But the biggest thing about this is having boundaries and being really strong and strong-willed and strong-minded because they do prey on the weak. And I would get her, like I said, some protection. The ones that I mentioned, you can Google them as well if you wanted to, like see another, you know, look at the other stones or whatever. You can Google and see what the best ones are. But I know that the tourmaline, they say you can close like portals with that, so it's supposed to be really strong. You can also put tourmaline in four corners of your house, like the little pieces. You can get the little pieces of it and put it in the corners of your house as well. And then, you know, she can have a piece on her or sleep with it or whatever. And make sure that she's praying before she goes to bed. She's protecting. It's been a long time since I've actually had anything happen in my sleep like that, and I just kind of said I didn't want it to happen anymore. And I would pray and I would tell my guides, please bring me back to my body. And they would. But it's still scary when it's happening. It really is. It's not like it's not real, you know, and a lot of people want to think you're crazy for thinking that way, but you're not. A lot of the unseen world is real, and people need to understand and realize that. And I wish more would open their eyes to it. And you're welcome. I know it can be overwhelming and it's a lot. And if you have any questions, like I said, you can go ahead and message me on Facebook. I don't mind helping people out with this kind of stuff because, like I said, I got helped out a lot. I had a lot of mentors and people that helped me when I needed it. So, I mean, I've had some scary things. I don't really have it happen anymore. I think it was more or less when I was first opening up. I don't know if they were trying to stop me or what, but there was a time when I lived in my old house and I was like, it was weird because I could feel my wrist being bent back, like someone was holding my wrist down, and I was feeling myself being moved up in the bed. It was super weird, and I could feel like my wrists they were hurting so bad, like someone was just bending them backwards. And so I started praying, and all of a sudden I looked up and I saw this like shadow thing like crawl down the ceiling, across the ceiling, and down the wall, and it was creepy. And so then after that, I was working with this girl and I got on the phone with her and I said, hey, can you help me out? Because I'm freaking, you know, scared. Um, And so we went through and we saged and we did a prayer and we did all this stuff. And I didn't have really any problems after that. And when I left that house, I blessed it. I think my husband brought it with him, but that there was something up there. My mom always got sick in that house and she couldn't really hang out there. So there was something going on there. But whenever you leave a house, make sure that you cleanse it and bless it for the next person, because when we live, we can attract things, they can come in, whatever. We want to make sure we're cleansing the space. We have hard times in them, the energy can cause manifestations and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really bad. And like I said, during the Delphi was even worse, because I was my clothes were being pulled on. It was so weird, and I would feel things touching my body, and it's just like, it was disgusting and weird. And a lot of people don't think that stuff can happen, but yeah, it can, especially by the demons and the lower astrals. They can take advantage of you when you're in a state where you can't move. Thank God I haven't had it happen in a long time, but still, it does happen. So I am trying to see. Let's see. Right. And like I said, if you need to message me, if they have any questions and they need to talk to me, I've worked with kids before, and protecting themselves and understanding that they just have to be strong, because they really do kind of prey on the weak-minded, the ones that are scared. If you're scared and if you have fear, they're going to come after you stronger, because they know they can use that to kind of get in. If you're strong-willed and you're not going to come at me, it's, they have a harder time. But if you're kind of weak and you're scared, they will take advantage of that. So they have to be strong. And remember, it's the unseen realm. It's not like they can take a knife and kill you. They can cause you to be sick and things like that. I mean, I've heard stories where people get really sick and almost die. And I'm going to go up them in a minute. Even though they love each other, they still argue sometimes, just like people. And it's really hard when you have fur children to, like, be quiet. I didn't see that one question. Let me go back up to it. Elizabeth, your question, I'm not really sure, is that a serious question or it's an interesting question? I'm not really sure if it's serious or... If he's doing that, if that's real and he's doing that, you need to alert the authorities, alert another adult, something. Because if you're only 9 years old and that's really happening, that's not normal. That's abuse, and you need to call Child Protective Services, call the police, talk to an adult that you can trust. That's the only reason you're going to get that taken care of, or the only way you're going to get that taken care of. Yeah, your counselor at school, anybody, like I said, an adult of any kind that you can trust, another family member. I don't know if you have an aunt or an uncle or someone that you can trust, but your family, like I said, your counselor, any mandated reporter. So yeah, counselor would be a mandated reporter. You can call the sheriff's department and talk to them, but I think maybe the easiest way would to be, I didn't even think about that. You're right. Talk to a counselor at school and they will have to report it. So thank you for Ash for saying that. If that's a legit question, if it is, if you're afraid, I would say I would report it for you, but I don't, I haven't seen it for myself. I don't know if they would take my word for it, but you've got to be strong and just report it and tell somebody, because that's not okay. Yeah, you definitely are going to need to be doing some work and maybe even get yourself some of those what we were talking about. Um the stones or the crystals we were talking about. And yeah, if you need me, let me know. Rhonda, so basically any questions that you want to ask, I will channel guidance from your guides. So um, I don't really have anything that you can't really ask other than I'm not a medical medium. I can't diagnose you. Sometimes they will give me information medically as to um, what a problem could be, but I'm not a medical medium. It's all in what they're going to give me is what I can tell you. A lot of it does. A lot of things with readings do have a lot to do with free will, so I do always tell people that, and it is possibilities what comes through in readings because we can take different roads. So basically, anything that you ask, I can give guidance on. The guides usually don't let me down. They usually do give me answers. So I can't tell you the question. It seems to be the more specific the answer or the better the answer. Um, what will happen is we will talk. You will ask the question, I will channel, then we will talk about it a little bit and move on to the next question. Um, so it's just going to depend. Every reading's different. I can't really tell you what information I'm going to get till I'm in the reading because I don't even know. And then legal stuff too, it can go either way. So a lot of people don't like to do that either. So it would just be questions. I mean, that's how I work is off of questions. I can't just pull stuff out of the air. I don't work that way. I have to have a focused kind of way to follow. Um, I can't just look, I can't just talk to you and say this, this, and this. I have to go off of a question. That's just the way it works. So, you know, it doesn't have to be too specific, just more or less like what's going on with the situation or, you know, something like that, or what's do you see me having a kid in the future, or any kind of question that you might have about your life. If you're going to get a reading, you obviously have questions, so any questions that you may have, um, that's how I work off of intuitive guidance. If you want a mediumship reading, I work off of pictures, but if you want intuitive guidance, it's going to be off of questions. So I don't just pull stuff out of the air, because then I could be pulling out whatever. It has to be more focused with me because of how much of an open channel I am. I've worked that way for years, and it's just the way that I work. Like I said, all mediums, all psychics work differently. I happen to work this way. I'm sure you can come up with questions. A lot of the a lot of the shoot, I just lost my train of thought. I do that sometimes. Um, So the questions would be if you want a mediumship reading, which is loved ones that have passed, then it has to be a mediumship reading. So I would need a picture of that person that's passed, and I would do a mediumship reading on it. We don't really ask questions on that. I just give you what I get. Sometimes if you ask questions, sometimes they will answer. It just depends. Um, Guides, like I said, a lot of times it's a personal journey. If they want to show themselves to me, they do. I can definitely usually get animal guides, but as far as regular guides, it's just going to depend. Everybody has guides, like I said, but they always say it's a personal journey for you to meet them on your own. That can be one of the questions. I've gotten people's guides before. It just depends on if that's what they want to show me. Every reading is different. Every person is different. So I can't really say. Um, you can find me on Facebook. If you want to email me, it's all in the description. Gentlehheartreadings@hotmail.com or thepsychicsleuth@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can go to the Psychic Sleuth podcast page, message me through there, or through Messenger at Rochelle Lapham. So you can, and it's me. It's kind of the same picture that's right now on the front of this thing. It's me with my dog, and it says right there on the Psychic Sleuth. So you can message me there. Right now I'm taking fair donation. So normal prices are 30 minutes for $40 or 75 for an hour. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to let them in a minute. 75 for an hour. I'm gonna have to start going up soon just because everything else is rising. I hate to do that, but the price of living is going up. But I do like to do what do you call it? Sorry about my dogs. They're ready to come in. So I do like to do specials sometimes. So I'll always post the specials if you guys are part of that. I also have a group called Paid Gentle Heart Readings with Rochelle. So you can go on there as well. But I always try to make like all my specials out there and what I'm doing, and I try to have specials, but the fair donation is something really close to that price, either a little less or a little more, whatever you feel is fair. I'm getting hot. Okay, sounds good. And if you guys can send donations to gentleheartreadings@hotmail.com, that would be great, on PayPal. Just for my time and energy. Doesn't have to be a lot. So let's see. Rochelle, when you did Delphi reading and you got Nicole Bones murder by Garrett Curtis, do you remember a murder? I didn't get anything on that in the readings. It would be in the auto rights was where I got about Bowens. Only she was known as Thomas, which is her, I think it's her maiden name. She went by Bowens and Thomas, and I got Thomas in the reading and the shack. So that's how I kind of, and a lot of stuff on Kurt. So that's how I kind of connected it to that. I didn't get anything about him, but I've heard that he might have killed another man. Probably he has more, for all we know. He just hasn't been connected yet. I really think he was a serial killer in the making. So I didn't get anything. That name doesn't ring a bell as far as in the auto rights or anything like that. But that doesn't mean, that doesn't mean anything. Am I intuitive? Am I 9 and 3-year-old at least? I'm always doubting myself. I think that everybody's intuitive, okay? Everybody's got some kind of psychic gift as long as they're open to it, okay? I think that a lot of the times, people, we come to Earth and we kind of block it out, we get closed-minded, but then something happens and it kind of opens us up. But we all have the ability to be psychic, to be intuitive, to have some type of gifts. So yes, you're intuitive. Most women are intuitive. I hate to say that, but that's the way it is. We have that woman's intuition, and it exists for a reason. Now, as far as opening it up more and nurturing it more, that's going to be up to you, because you can make it grow. So it depends on if you want to make the intuition grow. But like I said, everybody has some kind of intuition, some empathic. A lot of us have, a lot of us that are gifted, we are empathic as well. It kind of goes along with the territory. And we have to have those feelings of being empathic in order to help with our abilities. So I think that that's a big part. If you're empathic, you probably have more abilities, and vice versa. And like I said, kids most of the time are intuitive, and they can either keep it or they can grow out of it. I noticed that some of the times they keep it and some of the times they grow out of it. My son was very intuitive and stuff when he was younger. He got to a point where he didn't really want it anymore. So I don't know if that's going to change when he gets older or not. It kind of goes along with what they decide as they get older. I even doubt myself, so that comes along with it. And I think the big part for people doubting themselves is because it seems so unreal sometimes, right? And we kind of have to get used to things happening that we say, or us getting information and it happening. It's kind of something weird to get used to, right? So we kind of doubt it. I still doubt. I think that being humble is part of doubting. And we have to learn that, hey, we can't doubt because we have these abilities for a reason and we're using them and stuff's happening. And So if you're seeing stuff happen, there's no reason to doubt it. And the more open you become and the more you go into your gifts, the more you understand that, the more you'll get out of the doubting phase. Because I was really bad 7 years ago. Like, I was like doubting everything. But as time goes on, you lose that doubt because you kind of prove yourself to yourself. Um, so just don't doubt anymore and just keep working on yourself and you'll grow it. And if your kids are saying certain things, you just make sure that you're listening to them, okay? I think that Nicole got murdered because she knew something. I think she knew about Delphi, and I think she maybe knew about other things, and I think that's why that happened with her. There are some bones found today in a place in Iowa, like bones and clothes. They don't know if it's a female or male, have no info. Might be an interesting read for you. Yeah, maybe. I haven't really done a lot of who is this readings. It's really hard to get names and to get identities. It's not something that I've mastered yet. It would be interesting, but I don't know. That's one I'm a little afraid of because I'm worried that what if I put the wrong person, But there is a guy that I did a reading for, and he actually was looking for his dad. And a lot of the information I told him about his dad when he finally found him was really accurate. I was even surprised. So I am able to do stuff like that. It's just I've never done it where the identity isn't known of bones or of this person. Here they are. What's their name? I haven't really gotten into that. It might be something I want to try to master later on. Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think everybody's gifted, and a lot of times we don't think we are, and we are. And a lot of times clairvoyance is with dreams. So if your dreams are really intense, we're in the shadow period right now for Mercury retrograde, so things are going to amp up and be a little more intense for everybody. But dreams I used to have really intense dreams. I don't have them so much anymore. It's kind of weird. I'll go through spurts. And sometimes I have dreams that involve cases. It just depends on if I'm really working heavily on a case. Sometimes I'll have one. It just depends. But we're more open when we sleep, and a lot of times, a lot of psychics and intuitives and stuff like that will get their information as they're sleeping, and it will come in dreams. And your dreams, if they're intense, means a lot of times that you're clairvoyant. The more intense dreams you are, the more it's part of a clairvoyance gift. You can look up what clairvoyance is and see if anything else matches, but usually if you have really vivid dreams, it's a sign of clairvoyance. And that's how it started with me too. I used to have really crazy dreams all the time, and they were really vivid, and I could remember them, and they were in color and all that. So that is a sign of clairvoyance. As well as, like, if someone's explaining to you and you can see it happening in your head, it's another sign of clairvoyance. You're a very visual person, clairvoyance. So you just have to, like I say, if you want to really learn more about it, I would suggest, meditating, learning, doing all the stuff you can to open it up if that's something you really want to do. I think that more people are becoming more open and more in tune with their gifts because of just how the world is, and it's just the way. Turn on so that I'm gonna have to go pretty soon. I've got to let these dogs in and put my kid to sleep and all that. But you know what I mean? It's all about you and how much you want to learn and grow and put the work you want to put into it. I had a dream last night that my son. Yeah. Like I said, you can have psychic stuff come to you in your dreams. Some people, that's how they get their information. There's a dream psychic that gets his information that way. We all get information differently. It's just going to be how you are gifted. So it is possible that you just get your information through dreams. Come on. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's how you're getting your information right now is through your dreams. So I would just trust them. Yeah. So the babies do kind of sometimes remember. You can see a lot of different stories out there of kids remembering their past lives and telling their moms that and stuff like that because it's real. I would believe it. And a lot of times the abortions that you have, they do come back. So if you have a stillbirth, an abortion, miscarriage, anything like that, a lot of times the baby will come back the next time you get pregnant or someone in your family. So a lot of times the babies that we haven't had have come back again. So she's probably the same baby. She just wanted to be born this time. And a lot of times when you have an abortion, it is for someone to learn a lesson, you and the baby to learn a lesson together. It's a life lesson for you and it's a lesson for them. So it's a lesson for both of you. So that's something that you guys also need to kind of realize is that we make these hasty decisions because we're scared of whatever the outcome is going to be, and so that's part of the life lesson. They're still very much on the other side. They understand why it happened. They understand that you did it and the reason you did it. They don't hold it against you. It's not held against you. Everything that we learn in life is a lesson, and so that's why a lot of times they get a second chance. Sometimes the timing isn't right or whatever anyways. So a lot of times the baby will know they're going to be aborted and decide to come to you anyways as part of the lesson. So that's something that a lot of people don't know or understand or realize. So you got your baby back, and it's cool that she remembers that and she could tell you that. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It just depends. And I would believe anything my kids tell me because I know that they could be very, very, very intuitive and very, very, very they can just remember stuff from their past lives or whatever. You see cases of it all the time. So I would totally believe what your kids are telling you about that kind of stuff. Who knows what they're barking at? I'm gonna have to let them in. Dark outside, I guess. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Right. And so, yeah, when we have family members show up, a lot of the times they're visiting us. So that could even be part of a mediumship ability. So you could just, because you're so open when you're asleep, Aurora! Sorry. When you're so open, when you're asleep, you can get the information so much easier. And that's just the way that it seems that you work. It might progress into you working more when you're awake, but for now, that's just the way it is. And our gifts, like I say, they grow and expand and they change. And we grow and expand and we change and we learn. So it may change over time, but as of now, that's just how you're working with spirit. Plugins that don't make noise said it hurt her ears. Not really sure I understand that question, Katrina. You can elaborate a little bit more. I'm not really sure I get what you're saying. Aurora! No, I'm waiting for you to elaborate on that question because I don't really understand that. Kylie, no. Sorry. Oh, so for pest control, that's silent. Okay, so she might have a heightened sense of hearing. That might lead actually to clairsentience. So I would look that up for her and see if that resonates for her. Um, it could just be um, um, I've never heard of that before, but it could just be something, the fact that, she came back and it's an ability of hers. Like maybe her ears are really sensitive hearing. I would um, just maybe test her ears just to make sure there's nothing medically wrong. And if there's not, then it's going to be part of her gifts and she's going to have that very strong hearing. Like I have really strong hearing too. And I think it comes with clairsentience. So also, depending on the guides, like owls have really good hearing and so do wolves. So those are two of my guides. So has a lot to do with the hearing. So it's very possible that it is a gift of hers, but I would get her checked out medically just to make sure that there's nothing medically, going on with her ears. I was like Airwicks. That's what I was thinking too. Like the plug-in. I didn't want to say it, but I was like the smelling ones. Like you can't even hear those. I don't know what you're talking about. But Kylie said what I was thinking, and it was kind of funny. I was like, no, it can't be that, right? Thank you, Lori. I appreciate that. I try to do the best that I can. Even though I deal with some crappy comments on Facebook, I just delete them and move on. I know that I'm doing it for the right reasons, and I know that I put a lot of hours and a lot of time into it for the right reasons, and so does Kylie and the rest of my team. I couldn't do it without them, honestly. So, a shout out to them because she's spending her time right now doing all this for me, and she's been waiting patiently for Susan, another reading on her. So, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate when you guys appreciate me. It makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing because this isn't always easy. It's kind of tough on me sometimes, and just the whole everything is kind of tough on me sometimes. And so I appreciate that when I'm appreciated. So thank you. um, that's okay, Katrina. Well, maybe that's why I picked on the ears getting checked. So then it's probably a part of her gifts. I would say clairsentience. Look up, Google clairsentience, and it'll explain like the other things that go along with it, just like clairvoyance. Google those two clairs for me, and then tell me if they make sense. Just message me, and I'm so happy because that's Rora. Sorry, it's dark outside. They bark at the shadows, It's better than having them in here and going crazy. Hold on 1 second. So, I'm glad that I could be that for you because I really try to be that to people, and I try to do it humbly, but I really I thank you. I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot to me. And just know, I try to be a friend as well. So if I have time for you and you need a friend to talk to, I'm one of those kind of people that tend to just be a friend. So, if you need to message me just to talk, I don't mind that. I'm not like one of these people that just only does this for just doing this. You know what I mean? I like to meet people. I like to make new friends. I like to know my subscribers. I like to kick it here with you guys. It's actually a lot of fun. I'm trying to do it more often. So I appreciate your guys' support. I appreciate your donations, and I appreciate you watching and liking and subscribing and letting me know, how you feel and that I'm helpful. That really means a lot. So do we have any more questions? We're going on about an hour and 25 minutes. We have only 7 people in the chat. My dogs are barking like crazy outside, so they must see something. So if you guys have not, if you can, even if it's just a little bit, please donate to gentlehotreadings@hotmail.com. I would sincerely appreciate it. And I can answer a few more questions if you guys want. If not, let me know. We'll be done for the night, and hopefully I can get back on here in a few more days. I don't know what good days to do lives are, or good times, because I'm in a different time zone than most. I'm earlier than most of you guys, so if I'm doing it at 7, it's more like 10 or 11 where most of you guys are. So I'm not really sure. I'm trying to kind of just do it whenever I can, and maybe get a day that I can do it like every week. As soon as I figure out what a good day and time would be to do that. And even answering questions drains me, even if it's not psychic questions or intuitive guidance questions. If it's just regular questions, I'm just like, I just don't want to pass out afterwards. We did a reading on Dulce last night, and as soon as I was done, like, I couldn't even look on the map. I just fell over to the couch and just passed out. So it does take a lot out of me when I do this work. Even just talking about stuff, because I think a lot of the stuff I channel and I don't even realize it. Thank you, Lori. That means a lot. Well, I put Georgia, but I'm in California, and I was trying to turn off my location because I don't want psychos finding me. So, because, I work against murderers and shit. So I'm not trying to put out where I actually live, and the stupid thing would not let me turn off the location. So I put Georgia, but actually California. Hey, I love air wicks. When they work right, sometimes they don't even smell. So I'm just talking to someone about Dulce real quick. Because I found out, like, you'll see whenever I do the reading, I'll probably put it in there that I got 429, and it's actually an address that's right by a name that I got, and so I was kind of tripping out on that. What are the odds of that? There must be a reason for it. Probably gonna hop off here soon so I can actually do that. Yeah, I've had them blast me in the face. I've had them blast my cats. They come in here smelling like air freshener because they got in front of the spray before it sprayed them. I've had them do that before. But I have one in my room. I actually think the batteries just either ran out of batteries or spray. But I actually like those ones. Yeah, I'm tired. I don't know what you mean, like, pick up on your family members. Yeah, I am tired. I don't really know what you mean by that. Like I said, I normally work off questions or pictures, and so it would just have to be in the form of a question. I actually have another reading that I did. Geez, it's been, I think, almost a year ago on Karina from Indiana area, and I just got permission, so I'm gonna do that one too. I don't know if I'm gonna get it done tonight because I have to type it up, but I'm gonna get that reading out as well. I also was wondering, I was gonna look and see if Jip is still missing. Um, I'm gonna get, if so, I'm gonna probably put out her reading as well. Um, and I was working on Maria Jimenez from Houston, and I actually, the guy that they have is actually who I thought did it. He came, that's who came up in the reading as having done it, and the information of what they found out as it matches the reading. Just the other details about what he did to her that didn't come through, and sometimes they don't like to show me that. I had a really hard time. I don't like looking in Houston. It's really drives me crazy. Houston and Iowa, not Iowa, Utah. I don't like Iowa either. Those places just really a lot for me. Um, I don't know if she's findable actually, but I don't know. I'm thinking about maybe going and looking on the map again and see what I can come up with. And I didn't release it because a lot of private readings I don't like to release unless I'm given permission, or I ask for permission. So even though I worked on that, I didn't really release, and I don't know if I wanted to ask. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a touchy subject. And there's another one I worked on. I cannot remember his name right now. Crap. Let me look real quick because I think I'm going to release it. I was only actually going to put it in the group because it's a little dangerous for me, but I got a lot of information and I think I want to release it. I guess you'll just see it whenever it comes up because I cannot remember his name right now. Oh, I hate that I have to freaking put in the live chat and look at everything. Not Bryce. No, this was when I worked with a girl. She did a donation for it, and he's already been found. It was more like who did it. Oh, with Maria. Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna ask today, but I don't even know if I typed it up. I might have to scroll forever just to even find the reading. Because I always kind of say like if we get it out in public, it's a lot easier to find the location than us looking for ourselves. People that know the area, it's easier with people that know the area than it is looking on a map. Because a lot of the times the map doesn't show you everything, and the map doesn't look anything like what it looks like when you're there for some reason. So I don't know, I was thinking about releasing that, but yeah, I did get it was him, the boyfriend or whatever you want to call him. I knew he was the one that did it, but finding her was the problem that I was having. So let me see. Crap. I keep trying to see the chat and it's not showing up. There we go. So not Bryce, Kylie. I know you're from Iowa. I don't like Iowa, sorry. I don't like the energy there. I learned it with Molly. Yeah. It is because the guy, I got more on the guy last night and hopefully more on the location. She's given a few different areas and it's made it kind of confusing, but I think it could be places that he's connected to or something. There's a reason that she's doing it, or it could be another case. Like I say, I will pull other people up if they went missing around there or something, pull them up. I know that there was a girl that was, I guess her phone was found on Rick something's property, and I keep getting that name, and I don't know if it belongs here or Delphi, but I cannot remember her name. Kylie, it's the girl that you were talking about. Someone, what was her name? Yeah, Sapphire. So, they found her phone in this guy's like basement or something, but they never found her. And so a lot of stuff I'm getting could actually relate to her because I guess I got a lot about that farm in that area. So I didn't know. So that could be another reason. Plus I think there's been other missing people or whatever out there. I just sometimes I don't know, and sometimes like I said they can explain where he works, where he drives by, where he knows, where his family lives, blah 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 blah. So it's kind of hard to well, Rhonda, between me and you, I'm not even sure he did it. I've always said, because I got a lot of information on the people that own the farm, that they had something more to do with it than he did. I think they kind of framed him. You can drug anybody and make them think they did anything. I don't think it was done in broad daylight in that way. Somebody would have seen him. You know that the guy whose dogs I got whose dogs I got the name of, Ted. That guy used to have a really big crush on Molly and was kind of obsessed with her. So a lot of times it is people that we know. I just think because of who they are able to get away with it. Because they're a political family. I think that they found this guy to frame, and I honestly don't even know that he did it. Everything, I think it's bigger than people realize, and I think that it was made to look like something that it's not, to push an agenda. Because right after that, they started pushing the agenda about illegals and stuff. And even Molly's mom doesn't believe that her daughter's death should have been used as an agenda. And so I think that's what it was all about. I don't even think that, I think he did it under duress, and I don't even think he knew what had happened. Because like we were talking when I was working with some people when we were working on it, and we were talking about how, you can drug somebody, put a knife in their hand, make them wake up next to somebody and tell them that they did it. I mean, he doesn't remember anything. I don't know. I just think it's more plausible for someone that had a really big thing for her. But I could be wrong. I did get a lot on him, and it could be that he was accused, but for some reason I just never thought he was the one that really did it. Because in the reading I didn't get a lot of information on that. I got more information on the family and the farm than on him. So why? I mean, yeah, that's where she was going to be found, but why would I get what's his face dog's name? I don't know. It just some people have been saying that some of him. I think that they made sure that his family wouldn't get kicked off the farm and all that. I think there was some kind of deal that was made. Yeah, I do. I do think there was a deal that was made. I think he was made to take the blame. And people can argue with me all they want on that, but I just don't understand why I got more information on, the kids in the family and why I never really saw him. I mean, that doesn't mean anything, I guess. I mean, I don't always see things clearly, but I honestly, because of who they are, I think that it's a cover up in a sense. And I remember Molly saying, that the truth was never going to come out or something like that when I did that reading with her. But see, back then when I was doing auto rights, I didn't know that I was getting multiple cases when I was working Molly. I actually got Savannah back then. She was the blonde with the red lipstick, if you go back and listen. I didn't realize. I actually didn't get a lot too much on Molly. I mean, her location and stuff, but a lot of the other stuff was from different cases, and I believe Savannah. Yeah, and it sucks because, I mean, no one's innocent until proven guilty anymore. They're just not. And they're not going to believe that someone from a political family did it over him. They're just not. And that's why they did it that way. Look at the agenda that was pushed afterwards. And her dad is friends with Clinton and all that. So I think it's bigger than people realize, you know. I actually talked to her mom for a little bit, but she couldn't say anything to me, and she said that just she would keep in touch or whatever to keep making the videos was what she told me at the time. So a lot of the family they do approve it because they want their family members found, and so that's why I do what I do, regardless of all the stupid people that want to, come against me and say that I'm trying to be something I'm not. I would never try to be something I'm not. So I think a lot of the family, I know if I was in that situation, and I've thought about that before, if my son were to go missing, he's getting at that age where a lot of the kids go missing and, teenage years or whatever, it freaks me out. And I know I would do anything possible to be able to find my son. If I had to consult other psychics or whatever the heck I had to do at that point, I would. Because honestly, I think that a good psychic or a good medium is more able to find them a lot of the times than the cops are, only because the cops don't know everything. I mean, not like we do. If we could work hand in hand, that would be so much better, What I really want to do is I have this dream, but I don't know how to start it. And I have this dream where I want to start a nonprofit to have psychic mediums, intuitives, people that are gifted like me, that are proven, work with private investigators, search dogs, equipment, searchers, and all that. And we have different areas, kind of almost like Texas EquuSearch, but with the psychic mediums. And but I need, you have to make a board and you have to have people you can trust that are going to stay around and money to start it. So that's the only thing that's holding me back on that. But I definitely, it's something that I do want to work for in the future, because I get so irritated sometimes where I feel like I want to go check out this area and I can't, I can't get there. Or I want to go check out that area and I can't get there. So this would be so much better, because then if we want to go, we can just go, If we're really confident about something, we could just go. Well, I've been on for about 1:42. I want to thank everybody for donating. If you're still here and if you would like to donate even a little bit, PayPal, gentlehheartreadings@hotmail.com. I'll try to do this more often. Please join the Psychic Sleuth podcast to stay in touch with all of the cases and stuff that I'm working on and all the stuff that's going on. Sometimes I post validations in there before it's ever posted, and post readings in there before it's ever posted. So, it's a place to be, and I try to keep it very positive. It's a lot about what's going on with cases and validations and things like that. So, I thank you so much for liking, subscribing, being here today, for your donations, for hanging out, for talking. These things are actually really fun. It's a good way to get to know my people. And again, I just appreciate you guys for kicking it with me today. And I will see you next time. Hang in there, everybody. As soon as I figure this out. Okay, bye.